In the world of military firearms, there are weapons that follow conventional wisdom, and then there's the MAS-38 submachine gun, a French weapon so bizarre and unconventional that it seemed to violate every principle of good gun design, yet somehow managed to be surprisingly effective in combat. This wasn't just another submachine gun. It was a mechanical paradox that challenged everything military engineers thought they knew about automatic weapons. With its strange folding trigger, awkward grip angle, and unconventional operating system, the MAS-38 looked like it had been designed by someone who had never seen a proper submachine gun before. Military experts laughed at its peculiar appearance. Enemy forces underestimated its capabilities, and even French soldiers initially questioned whether this odd-looking weapon could actually work in combat. But here's the secret that nobody talks about. This seemingly illogical design actually incorporated several revolutionary innovations that would influence submachine gun development for decades to come, proving that sometimes the most unconventional solutions can be the most effective ones. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel right now for more incredible war secrets and forgotten military innovations that reveal the hidden truths behind the weapons that shaped history. The MAS-38 story begins in the 1930s when the French military found itself desperately needing a modern submachine gun to compete with the advanced automatic weapons being developed by Germany and other European powers. The French arms industry had fallen behind in submachine gun technology, still relying on outdated designs while their potential enemies were fielding increasingly sophisticated automatic weapons. The task of creating France's new submachine gun fell to the engineers at Manufacture d'Armes de Saint-Étienne, who were given an almost impossible challenge: design a weapon that would be cheap to manufacture, reliable in combat, and capable of matching the performance of the best foreign submachine guns, all while using France's standard 7.65mm long cartridge instead of the more common pistol calibers used by other nations. The design team, led by engineer Henri Reibel, decided to take a completely unconventional approach to solving these challenges, creating a weapon that would break virtually every established rule of submachine gun design. Instead of following the conventional wisdom that had guided previous automatic weapon development, Reibel and his team chose to experiment with radical new concepts that seemed to defy logic, but actually addressed specific tactical and manufacturing requirements in innovative ways. The result was a weapon so unusual that it initially shocked military observers, but which incorporated several groundbreaking features that would later be recognized as genuinely revolutionary advances in automatic weapon technology. The most immediately striking feature of the MAS-38 was its bizarre folding trigger system, which seemed to violate every principle of ergonomic weapon design. Unlike conventional submachine guns, where the trigger was fixed in place within a traditional trigger guard, the MAS-38's trigger could be folded forward against the front of the trigger guard when not in use, creating a completely smooth profile that eliminated any protruding parts that could snag on equipment or clothing. This seemingly strange design choice was actually a brilliant solution to a real tactical problem. Submachine guns were often carried by paratroopers, vehicle crews, and other soldiers who needed weapons that wouldn't catch on equipment during rapid movement or emergency situations. The folding trigger also served as an additional safety mechanism, as the weapon could not be fired when the trigger was in the folded position, providing an extra layer of protection against accidental discharge. Military engineers who initially dismissed this feature as unnecessarily complicated later recognized it as an innovative approach to weapon safety and portability that addressed genuine battlefield requirements in a creative and effective way. The MAS-38's grip angle was another feature that seemed to defy conventional wisdom, but actually served important practical purposes. Instead of the traditional vertical grip found on most submachine guns, the MAS-38 featured a grip angled significantly forward, creating what appeared to be an awkward and uncomfortable shooting position. Critics argued that this design would make the weapon difficult to control and uncomfortable to shoot, but field testing revealed that the angled grip actually provided superior control during automatic fire, helping to counteract the weapon's natural tendency to climb during sustained shooting. The unusual grip angle also positioned the shooter's hand in a more natural alignment with the weapon's bore axis, reducing fatigue during extended use and improving overall accuracy. French soldiers, who initially complained about the grip's strange feel, eventually discovered that it allowed them to maintain better control of the weapon during rapid fire, making it more effective in close-quarters combat situations where precise shot placement was crucial for survival. Perhaps the most controversial aspect of the MAS-38's design was its use of the 7.65mm long cartridge, a relatively weak round that seemed completely inappropriate for a military submachine gun. Most other nations were using more powerful pistol cartridges or even rifle rounds for their automatic weapons, leading critics to dismiss the MAS-38 as underpowered and ineffective. However, the French engineers had carefully calculated that the 7.65mm long cartridge actually provided several significant advantages that more than compensated for its lower power. The lighter cartridge allowed soldiers to carry more ammunition, a crucial consideration for troops who might need to sustain automatic fire for extended periods. The reduced recoil made the weapon easier to control during automatic fire, improving accuracy and reducing the physical strain on the shooter. Most importantly, the lower-powered cartridge reduced the mechanical stress on the weapon's components, allowing the MAS-38 to be manufactured with lighter materials and simpler mechanisms, while still maintaining excellent reliability. The MAS-38's operating system was equally unconventional, using a straight blowback action that seemed overly simple compared to the complex mechanisms found in other contemporary submachine guns. While other designers were creating increasingly sophisticated operating systems with multiple springs, buffers, and mechanical complications, the MAS-38 relied on a remarkably straightforward design that used the pressure of the fired cartridge to cycle the action. Critics argued that this simple system would be unreliable and prone to malfunction, but field experience proved exactly the opposite. The MAS-38's simple blowback action was actually more reliable than many more complex systems because it had fewer parts that could break or malfunction. The straightforward design made the weapon easier to manufacture, easier to maintain, and easier to repair in field conditions where sophisticated tools and replacement parts might not be available. French soldiers discovered that they could disassemble and clean the MAS-38 quickly and easily, even in combat conditions, and that the weapon continued to function reliably even when subjected to harsh environmental conditions that would disable more complex firearms. When World War II erupted, the MAS-38 faced its ultimate test in combat against German forces equipped with the highly regarded MP-40 submachine gun and other advanced automatic weapons. Initial encounters seemed to confirm the critics' predictions, as German soldiers and military observers noted the MAS-38's unusual appearance and dismissed it as an inferior weapon that posed little threat to properly equipped troops. However, as the fighting intensified and French forces began using the MAS-38 in actual combat situations, a very different picture began to emerge. French soldiers armed with MAS-38 submachine guns proved to be surprisingly effective in close-quarters combat, urban fighting, and defensive operations, where the weapon's unique characteristics provided unexpected advantages. The folding trigger allowed troops to carry the weapon in confined spaces without snagging, while the unusual grip angle provided superior control during the rapid, close-range engagements that characterized much of the fighting in France. The weapon's reliability in harsh conditions meant that French soldiers could depend on their MAS-38s to function even when other weapons failed due to mud, dust, or mechanical problems. Perhaps most importantly, the MAS-38's simple design meant that French resistance fighters and irregular forces could easily learn to use and maintain the weapon, making it an ideal choice for the guerrilla warfare that would become increasingly important as the war progressed. The weapon's straightforward operation and robust construction made it perfect for fighters who lacked formal military training but needed reliable automatic weapons for sabotage operations and ambush attacks against German forces. The MAS-38's performance during the German invasion of France revealed both its strengths and the limitations of unconventional design approaches. While the weapon proved to be reliable and effective in the hands of trained soldiers, its unusual characteristics required specific training and adaptation that many French troops had not received. Soldiers who were familiar with conventional submachine guns often struggled initially with the MAS-38's unique features, leading to reduced effectiveness until they could adapt to its unconventional operation. However, units that had received proper training with the MAS-38 and understood its capabilities achieved remarkable success in combat, demonstrating that the weapon's seemingly illogical design actually provided significant tactical advantages when used correctly. The folding trigger proved invaluable for paratroopers and special forces who needed to carry weapons in confined spaces, while the unusual grip angle allowed for superior control during the close-range fighting that characterized urban combat and defensive operations. After France's defeat in 1940, the MAS-38 continued to serve with French colonial forces, resistance fighters, and eventually with the Free French forces that fought alongside the Allies for the liberation of Europe. In these varied roles, the weapon's unconventional design proved to be remarkably adaptable to different tactical situations and user requirements. Colonial troops appreciated its reliability in harsh tropical conditions. Resistance fighters valued its simple maintenance requirements, and regular military units discovered that its unique features provided advantages in specific combat situations. The MAS-38's service with Free French forces during the liberation campaigns of 1944-1945 provided the most comprehensive test of its combat effectiveness against German forces. French troops armed with MAS-38s participated in major operations, including the liberation of Paris, the fighting in Alsace-Lorraine, and the final push into Germany itself. In these campaigns, the weapon's performance was consistently positive, with soldiers reporting that its reliability, controllability, and ease of maintenance made it an effective combat tool, despite its unconventional appearance. The post-war period saw a reassessment of the MAS-38's place in military history, as weapons experts began to recognize that its seemingly illogical design had actually incorporated several innovative features that influenced subsequent submachine gun development. The folding trigger concept was adopted by other manufacturers for specialized applications, while the weapon's simple blowback operation became a standard feature of many post-war submachine gun designs. The MAS-38's use of a relatively low-powered cartridge also influenced thinking about submachine gun ammunition, leading to the development of specialized rounds optimized for automatic weapons, rather than simply using existing pistol cartridges. Modern military historians have come to appreciate the MAS-38 as an example of innovative thinking in weapons design, demonstrating that unconventional approaches can sometimes solve practical problems more effectively than traditional solutions. The weapon's development process showed the importance of questioning established assumptions and being willing to experiment with radical new concepts, even when they initially appear to violate conventional wisdom. The MAS-38's success in combat proved that effective weapons design requires understanding the specific requirements of the intended users and tactical situations, rather than simply following established patterns and traditions. Today, surviving MAS-38 submachine guns are highly prized by collectors and military historians who recognize their significance in the evolution of automatic weapons technology. The weapon's influence can be seen in modern submachine gun designs that prioritize simplicity, reliability, and user adaptability over raw firepower or sophisticated mechanisms. The MAS-38 story serves as a reminder that innovation in military technology often comes from challenging conventional wisdom and being willing to explore unconventional solutions to tactical problems. The legacy of the MAS-38 extends beyond its direct influence on weapons design to encompass broader lessons about military innovation and the importance of thinking outside established paradigms. The weapon demonstrated that effective military technology doesn't always follow predictable patterns, and that sometimes the most successful solutions are those that initially appear to be completely illogical. The French engineers who created the MAS-38 showed that breakthrough innovations often require the courage to abandon conventional approaches and explore entirely new ways of solving old problems. The MAS-38 submachine gun stands as one of the most fascinating examples of unconventional thinking in military weapons design. A firearm that seemed to violate every principle of good gun design, yet somehow managed to be remarkably effective in combat. Its story proves that in the world of military technology, logic isn't always what it appears to be, and sometimes the most successful weapons are those that dare to be different. The French gun that defied logic ultimately demonstrated that true innovation comes not from following established rules, but from having the courage to break them when breaking them leads to better solutions. If this incredible story of the MAS-38's unconventional design and surprising effectiveness has amazed you as much as it has amazed us, please make sure to hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. What surprised you most about how this seemingly illogical weapon actually worked so well in combat? Do you think unconventional design approaches are undervalued in modern military technology? Have you heard of other weapons that seemed wrong but turned out to be right? We'd love to hear your perspective on this fascinating tale of innovation, unconventional thinking, and the courage to challenge established wisdom. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more secrets of war and incredible military innovations that reveal the hidden truths behind the weapons that shaped history. Ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode, because we're committed to bringing you the most surprising and thought-provoking stories of military technology that prove that sometimes the best solutions are the ones nobody expects.